Hey, 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 welcome back to the Psychic Soul Healer channel. My name is Laura, and I'm going to do a general message for every zodiac. Whoever knows particular zodiac is what I'm trying to get at. Anybody that lands on this video that resonates with it, I believe, was supposed to hear the message. And though we can have the intention that a specific zodiac is supposed to hear it, what I find is spiritual energy goes to the person that needs to hear the message. So if you're the one that's experiencing a lot of anxiety, if you're the one that's obsessing over a situation, then you're going to get the message from the other person's perception and vice versa. So know that energy is fluid. Roles could be reversed. You may have to flip it, switch it, twist it. Again, take the message as it best resonates, because you'll find, again, that some messages will resonate for you, some will resonate for the other person. Now, if you're new to my channel, anything of any importance you'll find in the description box below, such as my Patreon link. I have a $7.99 and a $9.99 subscription to my Psychic Soul Healing Coaching Program. There we do inner child work, we do shadow integration, and we do reparenting. And you'll also be able to ask me questions. We do exercises, and we actually do card readings looking at the shadow. I look at also what's going to happen within your situation, not just from a spiritual perception, but understanding the spiritual imbalances will help us understand why certain psychological and emotional aspects of the situation are what they are. And then that allows us to integrate the spiritual lesson, because karmic themes play out within our experiences, especially when we're in a soulmate, twin flame relationship. Any soul family relationship will come into our life to teach us. See, we don't always get what we want, we get what we need. So again, the karmic theme that plays out, which a lot of times what we need are things that show us a different perception, but they can wind up hurting us. They could also wind up making us feel a certain way about ourselves. So anything that we detach from, anything that we dissociate from, it means that there's trauma there. And so you don't want to come from a place of your trauma. That's not your true self. We need to let go of, the perceived notion of what we need to think that we are. And again, find who we are. Healing is an insight thing. Soul integration allows us to see a different perception of our situation, which allows us to quantum jump into the reality that we want to experience. That's why we do these type of readings. I know that was an earphone. All right. So again, the coaching programs are a really fun way to do shadow work. And they also come with meditation and breath work, because whenever you're healing trauma, you have to recondition your nervous system. Anxiety and depression or emotional imbalances. However, they again affect our physical body. So you can actually retrain your nervous system through exercises, even without understanding what the wound is that's creating the exercise. Understand, meaning that if you have a spiritual block and you're doing the exercise to heal the spiritual block that gives you anxiety, you don't need to know what that spiritual block is. You just need to be dealing with the anxiety. Because again, our mind trains the body. Your body is your mind's faithful servant. So even if you have conditioned it from a place of survival, then understand you have to recondition it. So again, healing the effects of trauma, there's protocol, there's steps. It's not an overnight thing. Many people don't realize that. So if you'd also want to win a free reading with me, know all that you need to do is like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write the magic word in your comment bar. Every time that we pull, it's always from the Psychic Soul Healer deck, which is my deck, which looks at the psychological and emotional, which are spiritual issues within your situation. And that will let us know again why certain situations are happening. So, again, the word that you're going to write in your comment bar is merciless forgiveness. So, merciless forgiveness pretty much is when you have to forgive when the person really isn't deserving of forgiveness. They may not be sorry. They may not see things from your perception. Um, they may not want to look and see how they've treated you or what they've done. But understand merciless forgiveness comes from a place of unconditional love. And we're down here in physical form to learn and to manifest. And we do this through giving and receiving of love, which is whoever's free will. Everybody has their own free will. And it only takes a mustard seed to make that multiply. And when we are, again, adding to create, what happens is we become a different person, which allows us to forgive. I feel a lot of times when we don't know who we are, and then we perceive that someone did something to us or perceives that now our reality is going to be different from what we had imagined or wanted for ourselves. This is, again, why we would have to come from a place of merciless forgiveness. So I'm feeling like there's a soul relationship here, again, which if you want to be in this connection is going to require merciless forgiveness. So a person that you've been attached to has betrayed you, has done something. This is what it says. And really, you have to say, why does that happen? Why do people come into our lives that feel like soulmates? And then why do they hurt us? If we feel like they feel like home and there's a soul remembrance, how could that person hurt me? And again, this is almost like the same thing of if I was born into this family and my mother and father were supposed to love me, why did they treat me like however? You fill in the blank. So if you feel like, if you felt like you were unwanted, if you felt like you were not lovable, if you felt like, again, that the parent didn't depict love, didn't show you enough emotional support. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they had to harm you, though in this case it could be. Like I said, merciless forgiveness means that you're being asked to forgive for an act that isn't really forgivable. And that's a soul wound. And many times, again, we incarnate into families that teach us this soul spiritual lesson. And if we can't learn it, we attract people into our life and situations unfold within our life that have that karmic theme. And this is, again, the energy that I feel like you're in. So there's a very heavy energy because, again, when we want to forgive, a lot of times we don't want to. Because we have to surrender our own ego. The ego is a shadow part of self. The shadow part of self is a part of self that we say, I don't like what that looks like, so I'm going to detach from that and I'm going to wear a mask, and this is who I want you to perceive I am. And again, society as a whole is really good at that these days. We see that with filters. We see that with, how things are really staged, especially with social media, that yes, everyone's supposed to be creating themselves, but they're more or less trying to create themselves from the outside in. From the outside in instead of from the inside out. So again, when you're in this energy, you're asking to heal from the inside out. And so a lot of times we attract a person or you can attract a soulmate that also needs to learn that lesson, and you'll trigger each other. So it's heavy energy, reactive, and it would make you reactive because especially if we don't want to surrender our ego. So I believe that you're connected to somebody that is really is used to people not forgiving them also, to be honest with you. And I feel like they continually get in their own way. And they get in their own way because they're reactive. They think that they know it all. They have a lot of trauma. That's what happens when we have trauma. When we have trauma, we're not in the present moment. So if already we don't feel good about ourselves, or we again have a lot of anxiety about being in relationships because we again don't have good experiences of relationships, especially from a young age. You know, your parents are the first people, your caregivers are the first people to teach you. So whether that was your grandmother, whether that was an aunt, an uncle, you know, whoever it was, whether it was your mother, your father, it doesn't matter. It was That's when the brain is most impressionable. And so again, a lot of times we until all the time actually until we heal that spiritual lesson, we are going to form behaviorisms that get in our own way and sabotage the relationship because we're coming from a survival perspective. And that's what I feel like this person needs to do. So whenever someone goes through a relationship where they were hurt or feel like that the person didn't value or love or um, didn't show up for, there's many different wounds that can get triggered, like abandonment and like it's betrayal, victimization. I can go on. So this is what it means, like merciless forgiveness. I really shouldn't have to forgive you. I really don't want to forgive you. But if you notice, the symbolization of Jesus here is that Jesus like was crucified, and that's the level of forgiveness that we're supposed to have. That's the symbolization of that. That's merciless forgiveness. That's like I really, or like if someone, God forbid, killed your child, right? Like or took or did something that was so not forgivable is merciless forgiveness. Well, when it's your soulmate and they cheat on you, when it's your soulmate and they don't show up for you, that they're not there for you, and they trigger those old wounds. No one was murdered. It's not no one was crucified. However, it's extreme betrayal. It's psychologically. It's it creates a lot of pain and turmoil unless healed and integrated. And in this case, again, reactive. So, and I believe that like goes to like, you're a mirror of who and what comes into your life. But this person has a lot of trauma. And because they have a lot of trauma, they're reactive. And I believe, again, that people didn't treat them well, so they don't treat anyone well as the energy. But that doesn't mean that they don't have feelings. Again, perseverance. And I say that because especially perseverance, and it's then where I feel like this person is going to keep trying and trying and trying to have a good life. They're a fighter. But the thing is, when we're a fighter, we're coming from a survival perspective. So meaning that even though they keep getting in their own way, they're still going to always come back and try to talk to you, try to like, because they feel that spiritual connection, right? And what makes us be able to persevere? Well, we have to love something, we have to care about something, whatever it is, whether or not you're like, oh, I have to take all these classes, right? And I don't want to go to school. Well, perseverance is the fact that you went to school even though you didn't want to. If it was 10 years, 15 years, again, whatever it was, perseverance could also be, running up a mountain. I'm in competition with a bunch of people, and there's a lot of issues. There's rainstorms, and there's rocks and boulders coming down at me, and I persevered through the difficult of, being in that competition, and there's emotionally, which is I like this relationship can stand this test of time. Like even though there's problems, can feel that there's a spiritual connection, and that's really what I'm feeling. Feeling that someone was was very reactive. And I believe it also created a lot of emotions within inside you, which is your reactive response. However, it made them reactive because they don't deal with their emotions. So what happened is they got triggered. They said things, they did things, they were petty, and did things that really it's going to require this for them. However, they can see, they and you can see that the relationship is not your ordinary relationship, because again, it's there's still love there. It still is equal to like persevere. And so understand what merciless forgiveness is based on is, again, this unconditional love. And so we a lot of times learn that through our soulmate, our twin flame. We learn that through the people that we love. Again, people are not perfect. Whether you believe in God or not, you can say you can integrate a different word, whatever you believe that God is. But the universe is actually what God is, and it's perfect because the universe is inside of all of us, and it's an energy, and it's felt as love, and love is based on the character traits of Jesus, really. I mean, that's what that symbol is symbolized, is whether whatever deity you decide to use in this situation. There's Jesus on this card. So you would understand what are the traits of Jesus, and that's merciless forgiveness. It's love, it's unconditional love. And so we wouldn't learn these spiritual lessons unless we had a soulmate, twin flame that hurt us, unfortunately, because what you see is it's like, yeah, it creates a lot of pain, but it perseveres. And it perseveres because it stands the test of time. So let's look at the wounds. And so understand we're down here to raise our vibration. That's what we're doing. We're all raising our vibration through learning what unconditional love is. And so we wouldn't really know what the difference is unless there was a paradox. All right. Scheming. I feel like you can never, like, you're going to have a hard time trusting this person if you let them back into your life. That's my first feeling. And because there's a sense that, again, the problem, the wound is still there. So even if there's forgiveness, unless your person forgives themselves and again understands about all their past relationships and heals those past situations that made them act the way that they did to begin with, you would not trust them because they have to heal it. So otherwise you're always going to think that they're scheming. You're always going to think that they're not coming from a place of love. They never have their guard down. The person that's scheming and is in a relationship, again, they're coming from a very logical way, a survival way. So it's not that we're not supposed to think at all. But again, scheming means that this person is always doing what's best for them, never really thinking about what's best for you because they're coming from a survival perspective. And so they have problems in their relationships because of it. So we're seeing why certain karmic patterns have played out within their life. So if you think, well, I can change them, which a lot of times people do because they think that love would change them. Well, unless you know what to do to balance out the situation, this is going to turn out to be a karmic nightmare. Because if a person can't treat you with the respect and understanding and is, going to be compassionate about what your needs are right from the beginning, they're not going to all of a sudden do it later on. You teach a person. But if the person doesn't have, good character to begin with because of what they've went through, then they need healing. And so this is kind of like the energy that I'm feeling. We could see why. And it's, again, loss, not knowing what to do, feeling like you have no purpose, take a deep direction. So I feel like, again, this person doesn't really, again, survival mode. We all go through experiences that are out of balance. But being that they're coming from a survival mode, they're not coming from a sense of truth. So they are lost because they don't They don't have enough awareness, spiritual awareness. And that can happen if we're not taught. So you may say, oh, everybody knows about spiritual, how to, you know, heal themselves. And no, not everyone does. And again, there's a lot of people that are lost, and they can seem as if they have a great job and that they look good and they look like they have all the ingredients, but understand that's the mask. The mask says, well, let me live this type of house, and the person can go out and work and work and work and work and work and work, and buy those things, but that's not what the person's life is supposed to be about. This is what makes them lost. This is why they're always coming from a place of scheming, because you'd never have enough, because it's almost like trying to fill an empty well. So this is how you felt. And deceiving, like, again, and I feel like they are deceiving, and they're deceiving because not so much because they want to hurt you and get over it, but this is like not who you say you are. Having to put on the front, the real you is better. So again, the mask. So again, the mask is what makes us, we want you to view us like that. That's who this person is. Oops. So I'm just going to, like, because they fell out and I never feel like there's a mistake. Perfectionist, dutiful, and attached. And see, I never feel like there's a mistake. So you have to be careful not to fall into a place of trying to, like, be perfect. Like when there's a soulmate and someone comes on and they're very strong in the beginning, and they love bomb, and they're really taken with you. But they don't know who they are. There's a misperception almost that they think that you can fix them, is what I'm feeling. So again, you would try to be that perfect person, but that would again now take you out of your true self, because you're being too dutiful. And really it's because there's attachment issues. But I also believe that there's attachment issues from this person. I'm feeling like this is a very karmic energy, and I had to look at that, even though you may say, oh, I don't really want to look at the spiritual energies are going to help you deal with this person in a way that is more balanced. Meaning, a lot of times when the soulmate relationship, we don't know what to do. We fight between our head and our heart because we already know. And so again, if you know what the triggers are, and you know how you can get hurt in the relationship, then obviously you would do things differently to get a different reaction. That you're able to shape shift your reality better, because there's many different realities that play out at one time. So again, we see if the wounded version of you is, and this person is normally rush into relationships, have attachment issues, this person's coming from a place of survival. There's a place where again they don't give enough. They hadn't gave enough. And that's because they're wearing a mask. You were perceiving it a little bit, maybe like it was something that you were doing, or they were making it as if you were doing something wrong, which is a form of gaslighting, which again the mask will do, because those mask aspects of self will not let you get that close to them. So we can understand, if you, first of all, don't become attached and you don't become codependent, you will not fall into that trap. Because understand, what happens is when we have attachment issues, a lot of times we abandon ourselves, and that means our friends and things that make us balanced, give us emotional support. And so understand, this person's not capable of giving you because they're not capable of even giving themselves. I want to see how they feel and what they're going to do and all that good stuff, and what their hidden truths are, because we always want to know that. And then we'll see how to balance out the situation. Telepathic bond. So that's a ESP is of the heart and mind. So it said this is a soulmate connection, but this could be a past life soulmate. Past life soulmates are ones that are coming into this lifetime to teach you about yourself, things that, again, your shadow. That's really anything that is separate from this unconditional love, this energy of the universe, which is what we are. Anything that makes us feel like that discorded energy is, again, not love. So when the soulmate comes into our life and we're not stepped into our true and highest potential, we can always fall prey to attachment issues, to codependency, because that person feels so good, they feel like home, and there's almost a sense like they can fix you, but no one can fix you. But there is this deep divine connection, again, ESP through the heart and mind. Now, card down, I just want to pick it up and see what it is. You make me nervous. I think that goes both ways. I think that you make them nervous because you make them because of the way that you are. Like there is a sense of them putting you on a pedestal, them perceiving again that you're this perfect person, and though you're not, it makes them look at themselves. Again, it's a very strong soul tie, and which makes a person, again, when you're in a soulmate connection, you really are tapped into your emotions, and when you are not comfortable, like with your own emotions, not even because of anything, just not comfortable expressing your emotions, well, that would make the person nervous because you're not really doing anything, but it's their own thoughts about themselves on top of all these emotions, and they're not good with emotions. So we could see how this person would either get in their own way all the time or really have attachment issues. And there's a sense because they're not coming from a place of balance, and you can't fix them. You can't be like perfect to like do it, because these are two like perfect little cards, like let me be perfect, let me create the perfect environment, and this person kind of knows that, sees that you would be that. And because again, when it's a soulmate connection, there is this psychic ability, there is this telepathic bond, this soul remembrance sometimes too, where the soul feels like they already know when they don't already know, because you could have been somebody totally different in a past life too. And the lesson is to realize that you don't need to be perfect. There is no such thing as perfect. You shoot for excellence. And that's not by being so subservient to the person that we're with that we abandon ourselves. Passion and desire. So again, that soulmate twin flame, that's the issue, because it's like you said, it's this person isn't comfortable with them. They, again, not with themselves, but there's passion and desire. So we could see that they would come on real strong, and it would feel so good. And that's why you would want to be like perfect and again dutiful, but don't, because like I said, this person is always coming from a place of what's best for them, because they're lost. It doesn't mean like that they don't care, but we could see right from the beginning with their reactive nature, like that they're wounded, they have a lot of baggage, they're coming from the past. Until they clear up that baggage, it doesn't matter how much passion there is, it doesn't matter that this is a soul relationship. To them, they are almost delusional, thinking that it could fix it. Childhood wounds is influencing my actions, and they're saying that this person has a lot of baggage, and that baggage a lot of times, as we said in the beginning, comes right from those childhood wounds, comes from the parents that raised us, our caregivers, who was around us at a young age. It molded our brains. So again, what happens is if we don't heal, then We keep living out karmic experiences that mirror the same soul lesson, which makes us not like who we are. And this person didn't like who they are. They've detached from themselves and disassociated. So they're wearing a mask, always coming from that. And navigating their life from the emotional and over mental, but never from a balanced perception because of these wounds. They're coming from, so this person would need to do inner child work, which we knew because, they're coming from this, the ego, and the ego is all about passion. It's all about desire, but it's all about self too. Obstacles. And the only obstacle really that I feel is this person's ego. I'm not going to lie. But, or they could also, again, they're putting you on a pedestal. Do you make them nervous? It's said here. So it's like the obstacle is they have to come to you true. They have to, and so see how spirit is funny? And it's like you're going to heal one way or the other because this is a soulmate. And unless they come to you, because you are not going to them, that this is not going to work. And so there is this intense passion and this connection, but on this other hand, there's so much fear because a person's nervous. And then the obstacle is really that I don't know what to say because I also know how I treated you in the past. Twin flame journey. So again, that's exactly what I was saying, that the person needs to be able to surrender their ego. The passion and the desire is that fire element which transmutes that pain into power. And that's through being able to see a different perception of the situation. And the different situation is for you, I believe, realizing you don't need to be perfect or lose yourself, because this person really, again, the passion won't go away because it's a twin flame. The problem is that you think so differently. You approach life so differently. You have the same wounds, so which you trigger each other. This person again has a lot of trauma from their childhood, and really the obstacles is that they have to heal. There is this telepathic bond, but you make them nervous because it's like, I gotta step into my true self. There's a sense that they have to drop the mask, and they're like, I don't know if you're gonna like that version of me. I don't like that version of me. I'm lost. That's why I was always scheming. But this telepathic bond and this soulmate connection, we're really attached. But now the thing is that you don't trust them. But, is this unconditional love that happens between the soulmate twin flame relationship that requires this merciless forgiveness a lot of times because there's wounds. And when there's wounds, we're reactive. But what we see really is that there's unconditional love here that transcends all time and space. That's what really makes us persevere. That's what makes us not be able to abandon a relationship that really, we're dealing with two people that have wounds, one person that has a lot of wounds that really needs to heal. But even with that, I still feel that that love is still there. Now let's see what their hidden truths are, what they feel. Let's see. Just being near you is intoxicating. So again, I felt like they put you on a pedestal. I feel like, but that's also the unconditional love. When you have so much passion and desire for someone, we can see why it would be intoxicating. See, the emotions that get stirred up is what makes your person nervous. I regret lying to you. Well, it's good that they're looking at their actions. That's why I feel like that's why there's obstacles and they have a hard time coming back because they know that they lied. One more. I know I was a distraction from your pain. So I feel like what they perceive is your pain. I think that your person had a lot of judgments about your life without really ever getting to know you. And because you think differently and you approach life so differently, they thought that maybe that you weren't truly happy with your life because you were settling for so little, which is part of the reason why they didn't treat you as well. Because understand, soulmate twin flame relationship is always teaching. Now, does this mean that this person didn't have feelings for you? This person has feelings for you. But I feel like they realized that they had feelings for you after they didn't treat you very well. And then what happened is that they judged you during the time that they were kind of getting to know you. They gave you very little. They didn't give you enough time. And part of that was, again, the mask of who they wanted you to perceive that they were. So there's a sense of, I know what I gave you, and you would always give me the time. So whether this person came in and out of your life once a week, once a month, once every other month, if every time they came back, you gave them the full hour to talk to them and you talked to them for a long time, there was always a sense that it was okay, that they could come in and out of your life, that you put up with that. So this is why they thought, again, that they were a distraction from your pain, maybe of other people that you've dated, that relationships that didn't work out, or again, not dating someone, whatever the issue, it's that this is what they thought. But understand that's why they didn't treat you well. So, but I don't really believe that that's true. I believe that you were getting to know this person. See, it's not uncommon when a person is wearing a mask that they get, that they have perceptions. Like this person, again, everything was showy. Like if they drove a nice car, have a nice house, whatever, and like built their the illusion of who they are more than really created who they are, and so those things were important to them, where I don't really feel like those things are as important to you. Yeah, you want to live in a home and you want to be able to eat, but like driving the newest car, having the most recent fashion line, whatever it is not your priority. Dominate. I felt I had no sense of control over my choices because you wanted to dominate me. And that's what it was saying, like with the being reactive and wanting you to become subservient. And I felt like they did it in a very passive, aggressive way. This is what I feel like. Hey, Wendy. Ooh. I got a tickle in my throat all of a sudden. So I just want to see. We come from different worlds. Didn't I just say that? Our perceptions can clash sometimes. Can we work this out? So this is what I was saying. Like when you're coming from two totally different worlds, it's a lot of times it can trigger. But we have a soulmate that comes into our life that teaches us from these different perceptions, right? Like people, yes, he's known in American. Yeah, well, and he's from Korean. Well, and that's your situation, but just again, whoever, like this person could actually be American and be with another American, but that American person grew up in New York City and the other person that they're connected to, their soulmate, is a country bumpkin. You know what I mean? Their perception of life is going to be completely different. And so what happens is that the approach to life is different, and so which could be very triggering. But understand, spirit brings these people into our life to create balance in our life. The balance is the fact that we're seeing a different perception, and we're seeing a different perception through love. The fact that we're so connected to this person, not because this person did right. Remember, the reading started off with merciless forgiveness, meaning I'm being asked to forgive for something that is not really deserving. The person doesn't deserve to be forgiven. Not really. I mean, the person doesn't deserve it because they're all reactive, because they're coming from their childhood wounds. That's like, and then all their other relationships, because they never healed that childhood wounds. And so, and then on top of it, the way that they approach life is completely different. So you have all this, and then they're not healed on top of it. So they don't, not coming from their a sense of heart and intuition. They're coming from like, let me figure it out, let me scheme, let me manipulate. And we can't have that, because that's why you don't have trouble trusting. You're like, you're lost. But understand, this is why you make them nervous. I feel like they make you nervous because you're like, I don't know if I could trust you, but you're the one that makes them nervous. This card was for you when it came out. And the reason why is because there is a telepathic bond. There's a real strong bond. So this person like knows that they have to be the one that changes, and they're not sure whether you're going to like who they are. Will you like who they are? Let's pull one last card and let's see. No, but when a person doesn't like who they are, Wendy, when a person, let me finish this and then I'll answer that in actuality. I got to stay focused. So let's see how this ends. Is this person able to, you guys be able to work it out? What are the true feelings? What's going to happen? Okay, I'm sorry for leaving you hanging there. No excuses for my actions. I want to reconcile with you. So this is what we knew. Again, they wouldn't let you get close. So again, they want to reconcile. Now, how do you feel? Let's use a different deck. Let's use a different deck. Because again, when it's someone that we care about, we could be going back and forth. That's the issue with this. It's like, this is a twin flame relationship. There's so much passion. There's so much chemistry, but you trigger me from everything that you've done. And then on top of it is like, you haven't healed your baggage. And like, so we could see again, why will we be fighting with our head and our heart? It's like, I want to be with you, but I don't want to be with you. It's like, I really want to be with you, but it's like, I don't trust you. All right, so let's see. Meditation, like, meaning you have to listen to your own intuition, whether you like the answer or not. And that sometimes if we can't tap into our intuition, it's to write. And it's again, to meditate on, if we can't let it go, then obviously we can't, then that's a sign. Earth, wind, north. So it's again, come from a place of balance. Meaning it's not all or nothing. Meditate is, I don't really know how to deal with this, but if I'm continually thinking about you, I can't let it go. So I'm going to come from a place of balance. It's not an all or nothing. It's not like I'm going to take you fully back, like, hey, like pull up a chair and be in my life full time. But I'm not going to say that you're not allowed in my life either. And to understand that's a lot of times soulmate twin flame, asking for it to come into balance. There's too much passion, there's too much fire, but there's not enough ground. It's again, it's important to have ground, consistency. So, like we're being taught to think a different way. And we know that because both can't walk away. Both parties can't walk away in this story. This is what it's saying. So there's a sense, again, I can't walk away. I know that this relationship's important. However, you're not fair. Like in things that you do, like again, have created problems. Balance. What am I telling you? I can't even make this shit up. But that's what I'm saying. It's like we're saying balance. It's not all or nothing. It might mean date other people at the same time as date this person. Don't again make them feel 100% comfortable. They make them court you, make them date you, make them give you time. If they come back into your life, and obviously this is what it's saying, the person wants to reconcile. Well, it's like, I want to let you back in my life, but you screwed me over, I can't trust you. And what Spirit's saying is relinquish control, get back to unconditional love. That's the soulmate twin flame relationship. If this person's coming to you and they're saying, I'm sorry, I want to work things out, don't cut your nose off to spite your face. Find the balance, because you got balance twice, literally. And meditate, meaning don't come from that fear perspective, come from the higher self. And the higher self gets, and you can tap into that energy if you're not so codependent on it. Make sure that you have other things going on in your life. Create the balance. Otherwise you won't make it through this relationship. And one last card for advice. I know it's hard sometimes. All right, one last card. The voice of the heart. I silence the fear in me and discover the voice of my heart. The fruit of these words guides me. I trust the song of my soul. My intuition leads me on the path to light. So this is what it's saying, pretty much it's mirroring the same exact, which is meditate. You know the answer, but it's again, the voice of the heart, meaning tap into your heart, not your head. Don't go from, you did this, you did that, you should have did this, you could have did that. It's again, you would have to wipe the slate clean. This person would need to do their healing. You'd need to talk about it, find your balance. Again, it's not an all or nothing, especially since in the beginning, how they wanted to manipulate, to pretty much dominate the energy, because they were always scheming so that they wouldn't get hurt. So we again know that it really needs balance, because this person's coming from fear. What you need to do, and this person needs to do, is get back to your heart. And this relationship is easy to do that because there's a lot of unconditional love. Even though both parties think so much differently, it always winds up coming back to union, because you can't manipulate unconditional love. You can't end it. You can't torture it. It transcends all time and space, lifetimes, everything. So I'm going to leave it there. If you enjoyed this message, let me know. Hit that like button. And if you want to enter into winning a free reading with me, do the like, subscribe, and again, write the word merciless forgiveness in your comment bar today. And you'll know if you won if I wrote the word winner underneath your comment. All right. I'll talk to you all soon. Have a great day. Bye.